Kia ora. I put Copilot to its best use in this presentation, generating images. So I'm going to talk to you about our journey for our research data services. I picked a theme, Yellow Brick Road, because it does kind of feel like we do start with a bit of chaos and tornado, and we're laving pavers as we go. So we do begin with a bit of tornado of chaos in terms of where our research data services and our research data management is. Practices and solutions generally were somewhat ad hoc, both from researchers doing things perspective and also from the solutions that they were using. And at the time, when we kind of go back, we had a lot more data that was sitting in faculty or school-specific managed servers and storage. So we have evolved over time from being an organisation that very much had some very siloed practices and use to trying to migrate that all into much bigger, larger central services. So it was hard for researchers and faculties to share information between those different areas, and also even more difficult to share beyond the university. And I'm not saying all of these problems have been solved, but it's a paving the road one by one. Also, the institution itself, in this tornado of chaos, was really duplicating a lot of its effort in terms of trying to do things and not realising other people were also doing it as well. And publishing data wasn't really something that researchers even thought about beyond the figures that you put in a journal article. And that's really evolved over the time even I've been working in the research data space. So paving the road and taking that research data services and research data management journey, I'm going to take you from kind of where we started in about 2016 through to some of the stuff we've been doing. Initially, our first steps around 2016 were to create a paper-based data management plan. And that had some guidance around what to put in the different boxes that we created in that data management plan. And we also introduced some training that went with it. So very high-level overview workshops. We had a few small groups that we were working with to take them through what a data management plan was and thinking about all of the different components of managing research data. We also introduced the Research Bazaar at that time. So it was part fun, part sort of skills training, part sort of a way of building a community across our researchers. And we've been running that in various formats since 2016, and now it's a much wider, more collaborative effort across Aotearoa. We started working with our digital services groups, thinking about managed storage in 2016 when we did a refresh of our storage. We moved from one IBM storage to another, and at that time we set up a research-specific area. We still had a bunch of servers that were still sitting in faculties that were being migrated, and that's a process that is better, but we're still doing it today. And so we set up a process there where we actually collected a little bit of information about the storage, the project that was going on, and then worked with digital services to get that set up. We introduced Figshare as a data repository, and that's grown and evolved over time with our researchers. And we also started working on the Research Hub. So Research Hub was sort of one place where people could come in, they could look at the data, look at all the information that might be pertinent to them as a researcher, because information is dispersed across the university and it's really hard to find. And then alongside that, anyone who was in the room next door, I think Sean talked about our Nectar platform. So we've had virtual machines and data analysis tools that we've introduced around self-service and also managed services for research compute that complement people moving into NeSI. So then at the beginning of 2020, and Laura is a big component of this piece of work, we did a stock take of our research data management maturity, and that was led by our research, it was called ORSI then, it's now Research and Innovation Office, and we also worked with our friends at NeSI, and we did a stock take of the university. We interviewed a bunch of people, we did a big survey, and from that we wrote a report, made a bunch of recommendations to uplift our maturity. We also built a maturity model, or adapted a maturity model that fitted our institutional requirements. So as part of those recommendations, some of them are BAU, they've evolved and happened. So we introduced or began working on a research data management policy in 2022, and that came into being in June, I think, of 2023. We have a research data classification based on risk now that we, like you were saying, we didn't really recognise research data as a thing and it got lumped into other areas. So while we use the same framework across all our different types of data, it's separated out as a specific area. We also employed a Pūtiaki rangahau, so a research data steward, a Māori data steward. And we did 3 larger program initiatives. And I'm going to talk through those a little bit as well. So the RDM policy has a bunch of clauses in it. The first 3 that you see at the top on the left, they are institutional requirements. And then there's a bunch after that are researcher requirements. And there's the policy, and there's a series of guidance that goes along that. And if you have any questions, Laura's the person to talk to about our policy, as many of you know. A piece of that policy is really around the research data management and data management plans, so that people, particularly if they're working with data that's classified as sensitive or restricted, that they should be doing a data management plan. And we have been working towards having a template and an online system rather than that paper-based system to make that easier for people. This is the data classification model, public, internal, sensitive and restricted, modelled on the governmental classification. And that really leads us into thinking about what we're doing with sensitive data and what infrastructure we're providing for sensitive research data. So the big funded initiatives from that RDM stocktake and report were around creating, introducing persistent identifiers. That's still a work in progress. We're taking small steps in that space. We've started introducing identifiers for instruments now and having that available and discoverable online through our symplectic discovery system, profiles system. Having a secure research environment, which I'll talk to after lunch if anyone's interested in knowing about what we're doing in that secure research environment space. And a machine actionable data management planning tool. So not just providing a tool, but providing a way of flowing information into and out of the tool. So that's again still a work in progress, but those are the 3 larger initiatives that the university has been insightful enough to fund so far. And it aligns with a whole lot of different activities that are in progress. So in our journey, how am I going for time? Yeah, I'll try to finish this quickly. I think it's really interesting to think about what we're doing in research data management and think about the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and the Lion, because I think a lot of the virtues that they embody are the virtues we're trying to work towards in research data management and providing research data services. So thinking about wisdom, providing that training and that support and those initiatives are really important to helping people gain the knowledge or understanding of the importance of managing their research data. And that's not just with our researchers, that's across the university. So we spend a lot of time advocating for research data management and helping the wider university understand the importance, as well as working with our research community. Then, we really need to have the heart, the buy-in, fostering the culture of research data and the importance of it. It is a treasure. We do need to value and make it its most valuable. But also we need to celebrate all of the stuff we have done. So actually putting together these slides, we always kind of think, we're not nearly where we want to be, but in actual fact, every little step you take is a move in the right direction. And then having the courage to actually have the conversations about the importance of research data management, what we need to do with it, how we need to fund it, what sort of resources it needs. So that kind of leads us to where we were in sort of 2016, thinking about the things we're doing now in 2025. So we do have the policy and the guidance and the services and support in progress. Now, we're not there, we're not perfect, we're still on that journey, but we now have a wider group of training around research data. We've started thinking about what we do in the AI space and how we train our researchers to think about those sorts of things. What we're doing in the sensitive data space and bringing in some training in that area, as well as research data management training generally. We help support people thinking about data management planning, and that's a big part of the DMP initiative. And also work with our colleagues, our friends. It's not just us at the Centre for eResearch doing this, it's us as the University of Auckland and us as the wider research data community working on this. We now have information available that's more accessible to researchers around thinking about data storage, trying to lead them in the right direction, thinking about if you've got certain types of data, where should you store it, what sort of considerations, what do you need to document, fair care, data sovereignty, and also supporting data publishing. So there are challenges along the way. So getting those resource allocations, getting that buy-in from not only our researchers but our senior leadership teams, the wider community, thinking about the increasing requirements for data security and privacy, thinking about sensitive data and all of the meanings of sensitive data, and the evolving landscape within which we're actually working and trying to do these things. And I found it really interesting when I did this. Almost every picture of a wizard that came up was Gandalf, so go figure. But in terms of thinking about how we think about research data management, thinking about the emerging technologies, how we can make use of them, how we can actually improve our practices, bring in innovation, reduce the amount of data that we make people re-enter. So having those workflows, thinking about how do we do things with persistent identifiers that make all of this easier. I think that's a really exciting and interesting end of this process and this journey and laying all those bricks. So I'll leave it there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Yvette. Right, questions or comments for Yvette?
It's lunchtime.
Just checking, black shoes, not red.
No witch's hat either.
Any thoughts? No.
Everyone's journey's different, and I think it's really important to think about you just laying the pavers, and I'm very jealous of the data stewards network.
So actually those two comments are I think maybe represent a theme for the whole session, where everything is different and we're all in different stages, but we're all on a journey together. I think that's one of the points of having a session like this, is it allows us to share the places we are, the challenges we're facing, and the ways in which we might be able to gain from others' experiences, and perhaps find people we can talk with and collaborate with to do it better, faster, sooner. So thank you, Yvette, and I want you all to join me in thanking all of the speakers in this session, and I wish you very well for lunch.